Welcome back, everyone. This will be my full Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever trailer video from Comic-Con. Kevin Feige woke up and chose violence today because he announced so many things. We have two Avengers movies in the same year in 2025. They confirmed Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty, which is basically like Kang War, and Avengers 6 is Secret Wars. Don't worry, I will do videos for all that stuff too. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. It is going to be crazy. Seriously, shut up and take my money. That is just the beginning. Like, there are so many things, so much footage that they released at Comic-Con. But the Black Panther 2 movie is all about introducing Namor's character, Riri Williams as Ironheart, explaining who the next Black Panther is going to be, who's going to rule Wakanda, and what's going on with T'Challa's son. That's right, you actually see the birth of T'Challa's son in the trailer. During the movie, Nakia reveals that she had a secret love child with T'Challa before they got married. The music track that plays over it is Everything's Gonna Be Alright, because there's this big lamentation because you're talking about the death of T'Challa. Like, they open the trailer with this funeral procession. That's why all these people are dressed in white here, because it's meant to be a twist on the idea that you wear black during mourning. But you see some of the characters wearing black and mourning later in the trailer too, being all sad. That's why T'Challa and Shuri's mother is so pissed off during the trailer. She says she's lost her entire family. Probably the other biggest reveal is the new Black Panther at the end of the trailer. You see all the golden highlights on the new Black Panther suit. The new Black Panther is supposed to be a version of Shuri. There's a scene where you see all the fire around her in that ceremonial chamber with all the water. She's supposed to use her technology to create an artificial version of the heart-shaped herb, and there's going to be some twists with that where she gets some advice from the ancestral plane, and they are supposed to bring back a version of Killmonger through the ancestral plane. He's supposed to help her become the next Black Panther instead of T'Challa themselves, because they're not going to do a Carrie Fisher situation where they have an artificial version of T'Challa on screen, just thinking that would probably upset everyone too much. And obviously there's a bunch of footage of Atlantis here with versions of Namor, like a child version of Namor. You see an older version of him walking up to the shores of Atlantis with a bunch of blue Atlanteans around the screen. You see Namor and a bunch of Atlanteans using the giant whales as attack vessels underwater. This scene of the character banging out the heart in the iron is obviously meant to be a version of Riri Williams' Ironheart creating a version of her Mark I suit. It's meant to be a reference to the original Iron Man movie in the cave scene with him making his Mark I suit. Like, she has her own version of a Mark I just like he did. All the footage of the characters on the ship in the ocean using those regular looking suits is them trying to find a version of vibranium underwater. That's what causes them to disturb Namor and the Atlanteans and threaten them. Supposedly the connection here is that Doctor Doom is going to be behind this team that's looking for more vibranium. Like, Doctor Doom has a version of Doom War in the movie where he's looking for vibranium and sort of pulling the strings from behind the scenes. So Namor and the Atlanteans aren't really meant to be villains. Obviously none of the Wakandans are meant to be villains either, or any of the Black Panther characters. It's all the fault of Doctor Doom's character, and they also announced the new Fantastic Four movie too. That's going to be the beginning of Marvel Phase 6, but it's not coming out to the beginning of 2024. This is like the entire Marvel Phase 6 schedule. Even though they have all these mystery dates that they haven't announced yet, they'll fill those blanks in at D23 later this year. It's just the big deal that they announced at the end of Marvel Phase 6 is going to be the two Avengers movies back to back. Seriously, can you believe that they're going to have two Avengers movies in the same year? Like, shut up and take my money. It's going to be crazy. But now you can see why they're introducing Doctor Doom stuff during Black Panther 2. Even if we don't see him on screen, they'll probably have some moment during the film, maybe like a tag scene or post-credit scene at the end, that will imply that he was responsible for a lot of what happened during the movie. You can obviously see a lot of scenes early in the trailer is them just trying to deal with the death of T'Challa and not really sure what to do next, all just being really upset about it. I believe the way that they're explaining his death during the movie is that he'll have some sort of sickness and he'll pass away before the events of the beginning of the movie. So it won't be like Namor winds up killing him, but like later in the trailer, you see them literally attacking Wakanda, like it's a version of the comic book story where Namor in Atlantis attacks Wakanda and floods it, basically. That seems like it's happening much later in the film, though, after what happens with Riri Williams' technology and this team that Doctor Doom is funding uses it to find Atlantis looking for vibranium. And then they go after Riri Williams, who's in MIT. You see a lot of these fight scenes in and around the Cambridge area. It sounds like Shuri and Okoye in the Dora Milaje wind up trying to protect Riri Williams, and that's what puts them at odds with Namor and why Namor wants to attack Wakanda. Like, the friend of my enemy is now also my enemy as well, even if Wakanda didn't do anything in the first place. All the writing in Wakandan here in this scene on the pillars is actually meant to be a real-life translation to a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Like, yes, it's written in Wakandan, but it's really meant to be a subtle tribute to Chadwick Boseman himself. Most of all these water scenes during the trailer obviously meant to imply the debut of Atlantis and Namor, the Atlanteans, during the movie. They're supposed to have a really big water-based battle during the film. Obviously, you would try to do that because of the Atlanteans, Atlantis. This scene of Namor underwater with him with a giant headdress is actually meant to be in his god tier form. Like he's meant to form a contract with the god of their people the same way that Black Panther has a contract with Bast the Panther Goddess, who we saw during Thor Love and Thunder, giving him all of his special abilities. His powers won't be exactly like Black Panther's powers that he gets from Bast and the heart-shaped herb, but it'll be a similar situation. Like a major upgrade to his character, giving him all of his comic book powers. Parts of his costume also are inspired by the comic book costume, like he has the wings on his feet when he has his god-tier avatar form. The way they're playing this conflict up, though, between the three different sides is meant to be a very Captain America Civil War kind of situation. I've talked about it in previous videos, where you have two sides, Namor, Atlantis, and Wakanda fighting each other, but neither one of them is totally at fault. It's always like a third party that's responsible for everything. That third party is probably going to wind up being Doctor Doom. This team invading here with the soldier forcing the person to read what looks like these runes here seems like the team working for Doctor Doom. Like I said, I'm assuming this scene with Shuri with the fire all around her is her using the artificial heart-shaped herb and her entering a version of the ancestral plane, like some big ceremony where she finds out what's really going on and how she's going to become the next Black Panther. With a big Killmonger twist, like, wait a minute, I was looking for my brother, not for you. You get some new shots of her lab. Obviously, she's going to create her own version of a Black Panther suit for herself. I think the idea that Killmonger winds up helping her become the next Black Panther is why some of her costume is inspired by Killmonger's golden jaguar-looking Black Panther costume. Like, that was kind of the joke when T'Challa was choosing between new Black Panther suits. He said, no, this gold one is way too showy for me, but Shuri is all about that showiness. All these flashbacks of a young version of Namor with Atlanteans here just seem like his tragic backstory. Like, it'll explain why he hates people who live above water so much. The way they're explaining Atlantis during the movie is that it's been hidden from the world the same way that Wakanda hid itself from the world this whole time. Is this mysterious new technology that Riri Williams creates that's being co-opted by Doctor Doom that winds up outing them to the rest of the world, threatening to reveal all their secrets to everyone. Because if the entire world were able to enter Wakanda, for instance, everybody wants what they have, all their advanced technology. Now there's the same threat with everyone descending on Atlantis trying to steal what it has. And that's the real reason why Namor is so pissed off. He's worried about that, worried about his people. There's a bunch of new scenes of M'Baku's palace here. It sounds like he's actually going to be the new ruler of Wakanda. Like, Shuri isn't going to take the throne. She'll just become the new Black Panther, and M'Baku is going to become the new ruler of their people separately. Like, they're going to separate the two jobs. They did tease the movie was going to become way more international, too. Like, you see Ramonda addressing the United Nations, sort of the same way that T'Challa did at the end of the first Black Panther movie. Most of the Atlanteans throughout the trailer look pretty close to their comic book counterparts, obviously trying to translate this to live action. The reason why Namor doesn't look blue like the others is because he's only half Atlantean. Like, his mother was Atlantean, his father was a normal human. They also call him the first mutant, so I think they're going to explain that he's a mutant during the movie because there's all these mutants debuting now. Like, Miss Marvel is now a mutant in the MCU. We'll probably meet more mutants throughout Marvel Phase 5. Obviously, we have new scenes with Everett Ross. He's a big part of the film. They also confirmed Everett Ross is coming back during Secret Invasion, too. So there'll be a lot more of him during Marvel Phase 4 and Marvel Phase 5. The other big news, too, is that Black Panther 2 will be the end of Marvel Phase 4. The beginning of Marvel Phase 5 will actually start with Ant-Man 3 Quantumania. The end of Marvel Phase 5 will be the Thunderbolts movie right after Captain America 4. Marvel Phase 6 will begin with the new Fantastic Four movie and end with the second Avengers 6 movie during 2025. Remember, 2 Avengers movies that year with the Secret Wars film. They're basically calling all of Marvel Phase 4, Phase 5, and Phase 6 the Multiverse Saga, like the next big saga after the Infinity Saga, which was Marvel Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3. I'll do a separate Avengers video about all the announcements with Secret Wars, all the Kang stuff, everything that's going on during Marvel Phase 5, Marvel Phase 6, because like they just confirmed that there's going to be 18 episodes of Daredevil Season 1. We also just got a bunch of other trailer footage too. We learned all about Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we got new She-Hulk footage. It'll take me a long time to get through all this stuff. There's just so much cool stuff to talk about. I think the idea with the Ironheart character, too, is that at the end of the film, because there's this big connection with Shuri, with Okoye, they help protect her during the film, they're going to have a deeper relationship going forward in the future, and they'll help her create her next Iron Man Mark III style suit. Like, her comic book accurate Ironheart suit will be a vibranium Iron Man looking suit. Michaela Cooper is another new character. It seems like she's going to be one of the new Dora Milaje characters. This is more of Namor teasing his past. I think they're tying them more to the Mayans in their history in the real world. Like, they're saying that the Atlanteans are descendants of ancient Mayans that split off of their culture. This scene here just seems like Namor in Atlantis with the giant shark skulls here addressing the rest of his people as they get ready to declare war on the Wakandans. This is probably more of the water-based battle that they have with the Dora Milaje versus the Atlanteans. And then obviously we have Shuri in her new Black Panther costume fighting a version of Namor. This is Namor in the background if you couldn't tell. Everybody let me know what you think about her new Black Panther suit. Clearly it's meant to be a very feminine looking figure, so I think it does confirm that Shuri is going to become the next Black Panther like she did in the comics. If you look at the way they reveal the title too, like there's gold highlights on the silver Wakanda Forever title, I think that's meant to be a reference to her new costume having all the gold highlights on it. The real question here is what they're going to do with T'Challa's mystery son. Like, obviously, it sounds like he's going to be born at some point during the film, or they'll tease him during the film in some way. I think the idea is that when he comes of age, he'll eventually become the next King of Wakanda and the next Black Panther, just like T'Challa, but no idea how long they're going to tease that out, just because of the way they're plotting out the next Avengers movies, Avengers 5, Avengers 6. It might be like 3 or 4 years before you actually see a much older version of that character. But if they are going to do Young Avengers in the future at some point, they could bring a version of him back as a teenager and he'd be a version of Black Panther during that. But everybody post all your Doctor Doom theories in the comments below, because obviously we have all this Fantastic Four and all this Kang Secret War stuff happening in the future. There's just so many directions that they could go with this. There's so much cool stuff to freak out about. What'll happen is I'll do a She-Hulk trailer video next. That'll post early Sunday morning. And after that, I'll just double up my videos every day until I get through all the big announcements and all the big trailers that they just released. If you have any big Marvel questions about the announcements they made about their Comic-Con panel or any Easter eggs that you spotted in this trailer that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments, and I'll be sure to add that stuff to my next couple of videos. Everyone click here for my brand new Black Panther 2 Doctor Doom video, and click here for my brand new She-Hulk trailer video. I'll update the link as soon as I post that. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and Wakanda forever.